Thank you very much. I'm a member of the entourage of the President of Nigeria, President Buhari, to visit the United States President, President Obama, on bilateral reasons. And the objective of our visit basically is threefold. One, on how to improve security. And the beauty of it is that we are looking at security from a developmental perspective, from an holistic perspective, in which case security is not limited to arms and ammunition, it's not limited to law enforcement, but we are looking at it as a developmental issue. How does it affect employment? How does it affect youth restiveness? How does it affect production? How does it affect manufacturing and the general development of socio-economic development of the country? So we are looking at security from that perspective. Second, we are looking at what we call development of socio-political processes. In other words, democracy. How do we strengthen the institutions of democracy? How do we begin to look at democracy from a developmental angle as against eating the cake without baking the cake?
And the third
and the third one is, of course, economic reasons. How do we reposition Nigeria from being a monolithic economy to that can provide all forms of investment and make the country very much a preferred destination of investors?
Also, sir, a lot of people have been wondering what it was like when you took over the governorship of Oyo State. What was the account like when you took over, and what are some things that we are not aware of that happened when things were handed over to you?
I think, Oyo State used to be a pace-setter state. It used to be a state where the first university was established in the whole country. In fact, Oyo State used to be the intellectual capital of Nigeria because the first university was established there. Oyo State used to be a state with the tallest building in Nigeria. Oyo State used to be a state where the first television station was established, even before France had television. But by the time we came in, it has more or less reached the precipice. It has deteriorated so much that we were only known for brigandage, for violence, and for, if you like, underdevelopment. So I think when we came in, we decided to have a tripod developmental program, meaning the first leg, we called it restoration. Second leg is transformation, and third leg is repositioning. So we had to restore our lost glory. Now we have restored. Oyo State is very peaceful. It's one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. Two, Oyo State is now seen as a neat state, a state where development is taking place, a state that the infrastructure, the social infrastructure is being modernized, is being developed. And finally, Oyo State is seen as a state where we are developing human capacity, let me call it our human capital development, where we are encouraging social infrastructure, education, water, electricity, and what we call economic infrastructure, agriculture, manufacturing, and so on.
Let's talk a bit about unemployment. Like, what is your plan for like the youth of Oyo State, especially that may be watching this interview, that are saying, Mr. Governor, I want you to speak in a language that I can understand. What is in this for me now that you are the governor?
I think what we should do really in terms of employment is to see employment as empowerment. And for me, empowerment starts with structured information. Structured information is education. Education is knowledge. Knowledge is skill. Skill is ability. Ability is capability. And in other words, we must have the capability to produce, to be productive. And that's what you call empowerment. So for us in Oyo State, we must acquire skill. We must educate our people. It must be a knowledge-based economy. It must be people baking the cake, not just eating the cake. So we are introducing vocational training. We are one of the few states that is working with the World Bank that established what we call YESO scheme, Youth Empowerment Scheme of Oyo State, YESO. And we employed 20,000 youths.
You've already employed 20,000?
Employed that, and we are paying them. So, and apart from Osun, that has OYES, which is Osun Youth Employment Scheme. Our own is Youth Employment Scheme of Oyo State. And we are one of the few states. In fact, the World Bank, through their representatives in Nigeria, is collaborating with us. So in terms of youth employment, don't forget, the youths in Nigeria constitute about 65% of the population. And to us, it's very, very essential that we bring them into the mainstream of production in Nigeria. And it starts from what I call vocational training, knowledge-based economy. Let me tell you this, most of the youth that are unemployed today are indeed unemployable. You must train them, you must help them in order to become employable.
My last question, the people that, there was a den of kidnappers that was discovered, I think around last year in Oyo State. What is the latest on that right now?
I think we're happy that we've been able to curb that. When it was discovered, it was through our efforts that it was discovered, because we found out that there are many abandoned buildings, dilapidated buildings, posing security risk. And we had a scheme where our people were going around and eventually discovered that place. Be that as it may, kidnapping is not limited to Oyo State. It's all over Nigeria, in fact, all over the world. And what we have been doing now is to pay more attention to ensuring that when people are more security conscious, if in your area or in your neighborhood you see suspicious movement, you must notify security agencies. If you see abandoned buildings and many like that, then you must notify them. So I think it has more or less given us a reawakening of the security needs of our state.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We appreciate your time.